Well, I'm here with Wafia, Brisbane raised, LA based singer-songwriter, and you are finally back on home soil.
Oh,
how does it feel?
So good. So happy to be back.
It's been a while. When were you last in Australia?
I would say a year and a bit. I was making the album and I just was like, I need to lock in. I can't, no distractions.
You're
Sorry,
in
family.
LA, locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Well, I want to talk about LA. I want to talk about Australia, but I feel like we should take it all back. Go back to when, first of all, when I first saw you play. I don't know if you know this, but it was 2013 at Little Big Sound in Brisbane. There's like this
in the courtyard.
Yes. So there's this conference called Big Sound, the
Yes.
music conference, and they used to throw this thing called Little Big Sound. I don't know if they do that anymore, but it's for underage people that want to join the music industry and whatever. And it was you, Eves Caritas, and Weathered. I don't know what Weathered's up to these days.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't
But
know.
it was pretty iconic, and I remember seeing you, just you and a guitar, in the
Yeah.
courtyard of
Yeah.
the library in Brisbane.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I like begged them to let me play too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, these are my stats. This is why you should let me play.
Oh
I
my
like
gosh.
begged for that spot, and I remember like Cub Sport.
Yes,
came.
Zoe.
They were standing
They
right
were
there.
Cub Scouts at the time.
I know.
Yeah.
And I was like, they were standing right there. I was like, I remember telling all my friends, guys, they came to my show. Like, this is so big for me. Everything's gonna change.
Yeah. Well, they were the reason I went as well, because I was the biggest Cub Scouts
They were
fan.
doing like a panel or playing a show.
Yeah, they were definitely on a panel. I was front row. It's very classic me. But I remember watching and be like, who is this girl? Like, incredible voice. But 2013, that's when Tumblr was popping.
Yeah.
You were on Tumblr
Yeah.
doing covers, right?
Yes.
And uploading to there instead of YouTube.
Instead of YouTube, I could
Why
hide
was
my
that?
face.
Okay.
I love that you didn't need to, like, you could be a personality without like being perceived by your face immediately. Which I always felt like I'm better to get to know than I don't know. But
That's
really,
so sad.
I mean,
Wow.
but to be fair, like I got bullied a lot in high school.
Okay.
So I really thought
Yeah.
I was hideous.
Oh,
And like
wow.
don't look at me like yeah, I'm never gonna have a career if you could see my face.
Wow.
It's dark, but yeah.
That's really crazy.
Yeah.
And
So I was like, Tumblr it is.
yeah,
Let's go.
and I guess as like a young Middle Eastern girl, there weren't many blueprints in 2013 for
No.
women in music doing it and
No.
being like very forward facing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Tumblr
so
makes
afraid.
sense.
And I just didn't want to get like bullied online too. for
Yeah,
it. So I
you're
was
being
like,
bullied in real life.
yeah.
What was the online community like to you in Tumblr?
So good. I still have people that come to my shows being like, I've been following you since
Really?
Tumblr days. Yeah.
And you know them? Like,
yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's such a point of pride and like to my fans. that
Yeah.
They like,
globally or mostly in Australia?
yeah.
Wow.
It was so global because it was so like, and I was like a green blog. Like, do you remember like people have different types of blogs?
No, explain it to me.
I was like a film, like I posted exclusively film photos.
Okay.
And they had to be like of nature. And then I like transitioned to being like a rainbow blog, which means that when you scrolled, it would change colors.
Were you the person who was like kind of coding in the back end?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was. I had my own theme. No one else had it. I was a real point of pride.
Damn.
But then like I remember it started because someone was like, what are your hobbies? I was like, I sing. They were like, prove it. I was like, okay. And I just started like singing.
And they were like, damn, you actually can.
Yeah. And they're like, sing this song. And I'd be like, okay. And I just said okay for a bunch of years. And
Yeah.
my career on
That
Tumblr
would have been great
started.
for like music discovery as well, having all these people being like, you'd be great at this one.
Yeah.
You should be good at this.
I learned about so much music that way because before that I had no idea. Like I feel like I came across like Bon Iver that way, Sufjan Stevens.
Oh, wow.
Like there was a lot it exposed me to was other people's music taste.
Yeah. And do you reckon that like pivotal time of you finding new music influenced your music now?
Yeah. I mean, massively. Like it made me such like an indie kid.
Yeah, you were full blown indie
I was
kid.
I was like, Mom, like I'm indie, don't talk to me. Yeah, and it really informed everything.
And then I guess a big turning point for you was when you uploaded to SoundCloud. You did
Yes.
Mario, Let Me Love You. That blew up. It has like, what, over 5 million?
Yeah.
5.7. I checked it this morning. It's crazy. On SoundCloud as well. That's huge.
It was huge. It was like my first like viral moment.
Yeah. When you uploaded it, were you like, oh, this is going to be good? Or did you just upload it and then go to bed and then you woke up in the morning and you were like, what the?
I had a feeling.
Okay.
I had a feeling. I don't know why, but I just like, I remember being really intentional about it. I remember going, if I put up an original, it's not going to go because people don't know it. Like,
But you
let
were
me get
writing
some-
originals at this
Yes.
point, yeah.
And I was like, but the first thing I properly release is going to be a cover because that's going to get more eyes to the project when I do release an original.
That's interesting.
Because I was managing myself and I was like, that I'm going to do that. But I did expect it to do well. I did not expect to do as well. And like, it was like Hype Machine was so big at the time. Like my goal was just like, let's just get to the top of Hype Machine once.
Yeah.
And it was just like took over my life.
Wow.
It was really cool.
So it was a real like overnight success moment for you.
Yeah.
Where the next day you're just getting hit up in the inbox by so many different people.
I had so many emails, like hundreds of emails a day.
What were they like? A&R, labels?
A&Rs, managers, other publicists wanting to work, other artists. Like,
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty jokes. I found my manager that way, and
True.
I'm still with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you really
life.
took a punt on someone from that inbox.
Yeah. Well, I was like,
why'd they stand out?
they had an interesting name. And then
Okay.
the other artists that they were managing at the time were just like, I remember seeing them everywhere at that time. And I was like, oh, I want that.
Okay.
And then I remember getting on the phone with him. And I also knew, like, of course, like I'm Australian, but I'm also not Australian in so many ways. And I knew that I wanted someone who wasn't from Australia just because, like, what if my family moved again and I need to not be in, like, should I have an Australian manager?
Yeah, because you grew up moving countries a lot. You were in the Netherlands, you were here.
Yeah.
Canada?
Canada,
Yeah.
for a bit, New Zealand, all around.
Yeah. Well, that's such a fair thought to have with that sort of upbringing. Absolutely.
I just was always ready for my parents to move house. So, like, I feel like I made a lot of decisions for my career at that point. With the, like, because I was so tethered to them still.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my parents could move, so I should think bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've stuck with them.
Yeah.
And then through that, you also found Taku, who
Yes.
you worked with very closely on your first EP and your first song, right?
Yes.
How did that evolve? Because Taku, like, you know, kind of a legacy name in the industry. That's pretty crazy to see him come through.
I literally, the day that I released Let Me Love You, I was doing like a shoot with someone and Taku happened to know the producer, but I didn't recognize that it was Taku yet. We were literally on the basketball court. Like, we were taking photos on the basketball court. And this guy comes up behind me as I'm like taking a photo and I was like, who is this idiot with the Taku fade? Like, photo bombing me. It was Taku.
Yeah.
And then the photographer that I was with was like, oh, like, Taku, you should get to know Wafia. She just released this cover. It's like doing really well. He's like, okay, I'll hit you up. And I was like, yeah, everyone says they'll hit you up. He actually hit me up. And then from that, we like then made another cover together and then a whole EP and everything. But it happened just super organically.
Wow.
Also because of that song.
Yeah, it's nice to know that someone of his level would take a punt on an emerging artist and then actually stick through with you, not just like one and done, write one song and then be like, all right, I followed through on my promise. But he actually, you know, guided you a lot.
Oh my gosh, he is my mentor. Like, for 2 years we worked so closely together. Like, he was the first person I went to, like, I toured America with and toured Europe with, and like we made projects together. Like, it was such a special time, I think, in our lives of like, he took a huge bet on me when I didn't have any other like infrastructure and I'm like,
and it would be so nice to have a sounding board when you have so many people in your ear coming to you being like, hey, I want to work with you. Hey, I want to do this. And just having someone who's been through it and can be like, all right, this is what's good in the industry and this is what's not good. Yeah,
and he does a really good job, I think, of saying like close, but also like has a healthy relationship to it. And because of that, it like modeled like how to be in it, but also know how to lose yourself in it. And how to have like other interests around it too that really like inspired me and I think kept me like, showed me that there's other ways to do it all.
Yeah. Are you guys still close?
Yeah. That's like my brother. He sends me like little packages in the mail.
Oh,
like,
that's so
but
cute.
he's in Perth. He's like on it in his own world. Doing his little
Oh.
creative design. Not little, obviously.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
he's doing like crazy stuff. But yeah, that's my brother for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at what point were you like, so this was all happening whilst you were in Australia. When was your first time that you went to America?
It was 2016 after the day I released Heartburn.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what happened? What was America like for you your first time visiting?
I went straight to New York, and we were doing a lot of sessions, and I was like so jet lagged and so tired. I was just seeing the inside of the studio, and then I remember someone one day going like, "We should go upstairs." I'm like, "There's an upstairs?" Like, "Yeah, you don't know where we are?" I'm like, "No," and we go upstairs, and we're in the middle of Times Square, and I had no idea. I'd been sleeping on the way to the studio, sleeping on the way back from the studio. I was so zonked, and I was like, whoa. And that was my first experience in like America and taking it all in. And like, I didn't go to New York that trip, but yes, then slowly it just sort of happened. Started happening more. And
yeah. And whilst you were over there, Heartburn got played by Pharrell, right? On Beats One.
Yeah.
What was that like? How'd you find out? Also the fact that like Pharrell had heard your music, that would be so cool.
It was so cool. Later on, I found out that he had found it. Jaden Smith had shared it with him. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There's like a few people in that crew that were just like super obsessed with that song.
Have you met them?
I have.
And did they know who you were?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
There was like a moment with them because they had invited me to their house. And
was this back then or is this?
This was back then.
Yeah.
They were like, so what's your name? Like, what's your real name? I'm like, Wafia's my real name. And I made a comment like, wouldn't that be like so weird if I was like introducing myself by my artist name and not my real name? They're like, what are you talking about? Like, Ye does it all the time. Drake does it all the time. I'm like, oh, right. I forgot the company I'm keeping right now.
This place is crazy.
This place is crazy.
You guys are crazy.
Get me out of here, but a little bit I kind of want to stay and watch and see what happens next.
What's it like hanging out with that crew? What happened?
Surreal.
Yeah.
That was pretty surreal. They were like, oh, you wanna stay and like, I'm gonna have like a DJ lesson with Avicii later. I was like, I gotta go.
I'd be like, yes, please. Imagine Avicii teaching you your first DJ set. That would be so cool.
I was so awkward. I'm still so awkward in these situations. I'm like, I feel like an inanimate object. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm just like, I kind of just want to sit around and talk to my friends.
Yeah. Be a fly on the wall here, guys.
You mentioned Drake like it was your homie. Like, because he is. Like, I just can't. How much do we really have to talk about here?
Yeah, literally.
I just felt like
I don't know if I fit in here, guys.
Yeah, I didn't fit in.
Yeah.
I really didn't fit in.
Yeah. Wow, that would have been crazy. And then you come back home and the whiplash of being like, I've just been over there.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Jaden Smith.
Yeah.
And now I'm back in Brisbane.
Yeah, pretty much. I remember just like telling my little sisters about it. Like the group chat was popping at that time. Just like, you're seeing her, you're doing what?
Yeah.
It was very fun.
Yeah, that would have felt so surreal. Yeah, you were really in a snowball kind of situation.
Yeah.
At what point did you think, all right, I got to make the move. I got to move over to the US?
Honestly.
What was happening here that made you go, it's time to leave?
Pandemic.
Really?
I just got stuck there.
Wow, so that was really just happenstance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was touring so much before that I didn't really get to have much of a choice.
Yeah.
In where I'm like living or based. And then the pandemic happened and it was just like everyone stay in place. And I remember there were like every day I was checking like, oh, there are flights back to Australia. Like, should I go back today? Should I go back today? And it was like, I don't know that it's like good anywhere. Like maybe here things might be different.
Yeah.
And it just, yeah.
So you were there just like visiting and then all of a sudden you have to now like put your roots down here.
Yeah. I was there for like 3 months. I was working on music.
Yeah.
But it was just like, okay, I think I need to.
Maybe this is a sign.
Yeah, a little bit. And because we also thought it was going to be like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's
I was like,
true.
I guess I'm here for an extra 2 weeks. Like, that's fun.
We're just making music. We'll just bunk it out.
4 years later.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
At that time, did you have a good crew around you in in LA?
I fell in love out there, so that was really nice.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay.
So this was before the pandemic.
Yeah,
and you were like, that would be another little like,
That's a
maybe I
pro.
should stay.
Like, are you staying? I'll say if you stay. Okay.
Yeah. That's very cute. That would have taken it from like 0 to 100.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It was nice to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you stayed there, you created music. Was there ever a moment where you were like, okay, the LA dream is not all that it's cracking up to be? Or were you a person who went there and you're like, this is my shit. Like, I love it here.
No, it took a long time. Because before that, I'd also like met some people and they were awful. Like, LA just has whatever you make of it. And there were times I was making like not great decisions.
Yeah.
And, like,
What sort of decisions were they?
People I was dating and just like found myself in just like some personalities there are intense. Like anywhere. And it was too much for me, but I think I got like sucked in for a little bit. I had to just try it on for size.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like the culture shock would be crazy going over there, and the rat race. You know, you think about Australia, and then you think about the beast of LA, and like, it's literally like New York, a city that never sleeps. People are messaging you at crazy hours, wanting you to drop things.
Come in the studio.
Yeah.
It's 12 a.m. Come in the studio.
Yeah.
I'm like,
what was that like coming from Australia and then going over to there and people are just like at your fingertips? You can meet anybody under the sun and you're doing things at every hour of every day.
It's kind of addictive.
Yeah.
I call it like getting the cheese. Like every day you could wake up and you could like get the cheese. And that keeps you going for another like 60 days without cheese. But tomorrow you can wake up and get the cheese. And so it's a bit rat brain.
That's fair. That's so fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the biggest cheese moment for you? What's the craziest thing that like you've done whilst you've been in LA and you've gone? Like, I mean, Jaden Smith and hanging out with that crew is very US. But has there ever been a day where you woke up and you go, I did not expect this to happen today?
I mean, I feel like there are many that like once you live anywhere, you sort of just get adjusted to the surroundings and what maybe felt once really big suddenly feels like a lot smaller. I will say the other day there was a bit of like a funny moment. We were having like a Halloween party at the house and Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine came over and that was
And you didn't know he was coming?
No, I did know. Like he had accepted the party invite and it said like Tom Morello +1 pending. And I was like, I kind of joked, like, should we let him in, guys?
Was he cool?
He was so cool. He said, this was like the second or third time of me meeting him. Okay. But he was like, that was pretty legendary. Like, I'm like, oh, he's just like, you know, he's like, really love the photos you have on the fridge. I'm like, thank you.
Oh, you really have seen my bedroom. Yeah, literally.
So that was pretty jokes. And like me and like my girlfriends are in the corner like twerking and dancing, and then Tom Morello's there just like in his costume. It's very jokes. How do you
meet someone like that in LA? How'd you meet him first?
I honestly met him through my partner. So I've not worked with them at all or Tom or anything, but it is pretty, like, it's just that small of like, oh, you know this person, and then
I feel
you see them enough times and it's like, hey, come over.
Yeah, I feel like it might be one of those, it's actually smaller than you think it is industries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
So that was pretty jokes.
Yeah. Do you feel like moving over there was the right decision for you, and that like what you're doing now wouldn't have happened if you stayed in Australia? And like question. No shade to Australia. This is so personal to your career.
It's hard to say. It's just this is the choice I've made, and I kind of have to live with it. Like I also can change my mind. Like, you know, like come back to Australia tomorrow. Like I'm here now. Like I just think you kind of got to go where the creativity takes you, or like. And right now, my collaborators just happen to be there, and that's what I feel connected to making. So that's where I am right now. But like, always feel super tethered to Australia, and like such a sense of like loyalty.
Yeah. Do you miss it?
Big time. I was like walking around Sydney today. I was like, I think I might just stay. Like,
this beach is pretty good.
Should I move to Bronte?
Yeah, you should.
So there's just so many pros to living here. It's like yeah.
And your sisters live over here too, hey?
Yeah, everyone's in Brisbane.
Yeah. So do you miss Brisbane?
big time. I'm so excited to go home.
Yeah. Were growing up in Brisbane, were you like, oh, fuck this place?
Big
Like,
time.
oh, Brisbane sucks. And then you look back and you go, oh, Brisbane's kind of cool.
Brisbane's so cool now. Especially
I get
now,
that.
like-
I get that.
And it's like super tropical
Yeah.
and like it's super lush and green, and we got the big snake in the middle.
Straight
like,
up.
I don't know. It's grown on me more as I've gotten away from it, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's super special and
Yeah. Oh, do you ever see yourself doing a stint back there?
for sure. At the end of this tour, I'm like gonna stay there for a while and just sort
Oh,
of
nice.
spend time with my family. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll always be tethered to it.
Yeah. Well, it's nice having you back. Do you feel like when you come back and you play Australian shows and you see your Tumblr fans in the crowd, how does that feel for you? Compared to playing over in the US
Can't
and whatnot.
believe it. They're still here, like, and I'm still here.
Yeah.
Like, we're both still doing this. Like, what a treat.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe this is my life. And like, yeah, and seeing them grow up and like the songs that they're requesting and asking for is like, it's such a privilege.
Do you throw in their favorites here and there? You go, oh, old mates in the audience, maybe I'll give them a treat.
Yeah. I am performing on this run, like the song, the cover, and I haven't done it since. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Let Me Love You.
Yeah.
Mario.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
days.
it's just like it's like a little. It's the 10-year of it.
That's
so
true.
It feels like really special to like honor it
Yeah, a little
because
nod
it never
to your
made
beginnings.
it never made it outside of SoundCloud, and it's like they keep going back to SoundCloud to listen to that. I feel like I should honor.
Oh, well, that feels very special.
Yeah.
That feels very
It is.
special. Well, I'm excited that you're back. It feels great that you're here. And thank you for joining me.
Thanks for the chat.
Of course.